Okay guys, I am making a video to talk about informative writing with you since I'm not going to be here today. So if you will turn to page 27 in your red notebook, we are going to look at it first and then we are going to look into some slides that I have for you today. So on page 27, this is about informative writing. When we do our next benchmark, we will have an essay that you will have to write that is informative writing. And when we look at this on our red notebook, it has the acronym INFORM. We've already filled this out, but if you do not have it filled out, I will have a picture posted in Google Classroom for you to look at my notes too. So when we look at INFORM, we'll start with the I. I says include an opening paragraph that tells the topic. An opening paragraph is always at the beginning, and we focus on what we are going to be writing about. So you're going to state the topic that you're writing about, and you're going to state 3 main facts. You don't have to do 3, but 3 is always a good number to do. You can do 2, you can do 4, but 3 is just a good number to remember to try to have. The next thing we have is N. N is to name facts in the body of your article. So the body is everything that is in the middle. So each of those facts that you chose in the opening paragraph, your introduction, you are going to take each of those facts and turn them into separate paragraphs. So your first fact that you stated will be your first body paragraph. Your second fact that you stated will be your second body paragraph, and so on. So you'll only have 1 main fact per paragraph. So if I have 3 facts that I'm going to use, I would have 3 body paragraphs. The next letter is the F. So you're going to follow the facts with supporting details. Supporting details are your proof. You have to give me proof to let me know that you have a fact that is actually true and not an opinion. So when you are giving me proof, you can use words like according to, the author states, this, anything like that to let me know that you are stating a fact from the text. So in your writing, you will do here in a little bit, you will have 2 articles to read. You will find the proof, those supporting details, from these essays. The O is next. O is organize your writing with the transition words. And this also includes making paragraphs. So, O for transition words, you will have words like first, next, then, last, in conclusion. All those words let me know what is about to happen next in your writing. You also need paragraphs, and remember, your introduction, each body paragraph, your conclusion, they all are separate paragraphs, and paragraphs must be indented. The next letter is R. R refers to the topic and includes key vocabulary. Make sure you stay on topic. If you are writing about birds, keep it on birds. Do not talk about chipmunks. If you are writing about how computers work, make sure you are focusing on computers and not talking about video games. Staying on topic is super important for your rubric. Alright, the next thing you need to focus on is the key vocabulary. When you're writing about a topic, make sure you're using the vocabulary that the articles are using. If it says, like if you're talking about computers and that they are a type of technology, you don't want to say that it's a type of thingy that we like to use or like to play on. You want to say that it's a type of technology. Make sure you're very specific with your words that you use in your writing. The last letter is M. You make a closing paragraph related to your topic. So a closing paragraph goes at the end. That is your conclusion. The way to let me know that this is your conclusion, you're going to use the phrase in conclusion. This is where you'll restate your 3 facts that you made, and you sum up what you were writing about. Tie it off. Make sure that everything that you were writing about is wrapped together. You don't want to leave the reader hanging. Now, let's look at our task that we are going to be doing today. You will be giving a writing task, a piece of paper that has 2 articles, one on the front and one on the back, and you have a rubric. For the writing task, it says you have just read 2 passages about exotic animals. Write an informational essay about exotic animals that explains the way in which they affect our environment. You need to use information from both the passages to support your ideas. Follow the conventions of standard written English. Manage your time carefully so that you can plan your essay and do some pre-writing in the space provided. Be sure to use details from both passages. Your written response should be in the form of a multi-paragraph informational essay. So we know we are going to be writing about exotic animals, and this is an informational essay, so we're going to be using facts. It says that you need to plan your essay and do some pre-writing. You have a blank piece of paper that you are going to be doing your pre-writing on. So if you turn in your red notebook to page 28, this shows a graphic organizer that you will be using as a layout for your essay. So remember, in your graphic organizer, you have a spot for your introduction. You have a spot for each fact that you choose to use. You have a spot for the proof for each fact. Remember, the more proof, the better. And then you have a spot for a conclusion. Before you ever start writing, make sure you fill out this graphic organizer so you know kind of an idea of how to lead your writing instead of going in there and not knowing what to write and just slapping something together. We want to make sure we are organized writers. And then it says you need to use details from both passages. So make sure when you look at your passages, you have one called From Pet to Threat, and the other one is called Sick Pets, Sick People. When you are showing proof of both passages, you should have according to From Pet to Threat. But you should also have according to Sick Pets, Sick People. Both of those should have according to with their proof. Not one text, not the other. You need to have both to get this correct. Now I want you to look at your rubric. Remember, we want to make a 4 on our rubric. That is our goal. A 4 is a perfect score. So, if you will look at your rubric, you have focus and organization, development, language, and conventions. To look at the 4, this is what our goal is. For you to have a focus and organization, that means are you on topic and is your writing organized? So, it says in response to the task and the stimuli, the writing contains an effective and relevant introduction, utilizes effective organizational strategies to group related information logically and to aid in comprehension, effectively establishes relationships among ideas and concepts, and contains an effective and relevant concluding statement or section. So what that means is, are you organized? Are you on topic with what you are supposed to be writing about? Do you have an introduction? Do you have a body paragraph that has facts in it that are organized in a way that makes sense? And do you have a concluding paragraph? Then you have development. It says, in response to the task and the stimuli, the writing utilizes well-chosen, relevant, and sufficient evidence from the stimuli to thoroughly and insightfully develop the topic, thoroughly and accurately explains and elaborates on the evidence provided, demonstrating a clear, insightful understanding of the topic, task, and stimuli. So what that means is, are you using evidence from the text and telling me which text that you are using it from? Make sure that whatever evidence, whatever proof you are using, matches your fact. It needs to really support it. Next, you have language. The writing illustrates consistent and sophisticated command of precise language and domain-specific vocabulary appropriate to the task. Utilizes sophisticated and very transitional words and phrases. So, are you using very specific vocabulary? Are you using transitional words and phrases and having paragraphs? Just like what our acronym INFORM said to do. Then you have conventions. Convention says the writing demonstrates consistent and sophisticated command of grade-level conventions of standard written English. May contain a few minor errors that do not interfere with the meaning. So what this means is, are you using correct grammar? Do your subjects, your verbs, does everything match? Are you using the adjectives like you're supposed to? It says that you can have a few errors. So if you have a few misspelled words or a few grammar errors, that's okay, as long as it doesn't take away from the meaning. Because remember, this is just going to be a rough draft, and rough drafts are progress over perfection. So don't worry about making it perfect. Just make sure that you are trying your best. And if we have a few errors, that's okay. But make sure that you go back before you turn it in and reread it. Always reread something before you turn it in to make sure that you don't have a bunch of errors. Now, you are going to work on your pre-writing, which will be making a graphic organizer. So be looking at your writing prompt, making sure you really understand what you need to write about. Create your graphic organizer after reading the 2 prompts that are there, the 2 passages. And then you are going to have today and tomorrow to work on your drafts. Remember, always reread it before you turn it in. I want to see some awesome writing when I come back. We are going to work on going over what we can improve on and all kinds of fun stuff when I get back, so that we are ready to rock this benchmark test that we have to do. Because I know you guys are awesome writers.